Hello again and welcome to my channel. I'm Dave Anderson, Helicool's Helipad, and today we're going to be doing some pretty cool things because it's raining again in Western Washington, and I know that that's just a complete shocker to everybody else, especially all my friends down in California, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona. Just remember that there's a reason why it's green up here, and if you like the sun, you're probably best to just stay on down there because it rains a lot up here. Anyway, on with the show. So today is another indoor project, and I started this actually quite a while ago, and just haven't really had the time, I guess, to really make it happen. Of course, I'm also a little scared to do it because I'm working with some rather expensive material, but I want to make some buckskin pants. And so here is the start of what I actually was doing. And I made this out of just some really cheap material, just so that I can get the layout of how it's supposed to work without actually cutting leather. Because obviously leather is very expensive and I don't want to make a mistake. So I kind of created these pair of pants, and you can see it's kind of weird. You got white and then you have brown. Well, thankfully I did this first because the pattern really doesn't tell you that you have to switch sides, which pattern size to use when you're doing a left leg and a right leg. So I just put it on the same side as I did the first one, and of course I wound up with it being inside out on one leg. So that was a good lesson to learn. But anyway, today I'm going to try to do some cutting on this and perhaps make a set of buckskins over the next day or so, because well, it's just rainy outside, and it's a good rainy day project. Stay tuned. All right, these are the buckskin pants that I will be making. And here's a pattern number. And of course the pattern is by Missouri River Patterns. And this is the style buckskin that I'll be making. I don't know if I'll be making all of those different elements of design there, but I'm gonna try. Again, another picture of it. I guess that's pretty much kind of the same, but those are of course buckskins without any of the frills. I'm definitely going to make sure that I have the frills on it. Those are not only just for looks, but those are for wicking the leather dry after it gets wet. Tends to dry out a lot faster, and of course in the Pacific Northwest, you know that it rains a lot. Here I've selected the pattern, cut it out to my size. These sheets are very, very thin, so you have to really be careful. But here's the 2 rolls of buckskin that I have. It's not really buckskin, it's actually cowhide. Has a slick side, and it does have the split side. The split side is actually what I'll be using for the outside, because it looks like brain tanned leather, where the slick it's just a finished side, and it's not really what I want for a buckskin look. It's the rough that I want. And being that this is about $125 a piece, and there's 2 skins here, this is really why I was apprehensive about starting this, and why I wanted to make sure that I did that other pair of pants with a cheaper material rather than starting to cut on this more expensive leather. So that was kind of my apprehension. I've had these skins for about a year now, and it's time to make some buckskins out of it. So it's either now or never. Here we go. All right, laying the buckskins out, I wanted to make sure that this way is going rough, this way is going soft, this way is going soft. so that the grain of the leather is exactly the same. So I laid both of these out. The biggest place I could get was my bed. So I have one leg and the other leg. So this would be, I believe, the left side, and I've marked it with a marker so that I know where the lines are to cut it out. And now what I'm going to do is flip these patterns over and put it over onto this one. I should have plenty of left, maybe enough to even make a small leather vest. So wait and see if I can make that happen. That'd be kind of cool. All right, so the pattern is laid out on the opposite side of the paper. Had to get a little bit more creative this time. It's not exactly lined up here because I had to avoid the marking, and also they put a sticker right here. So, I mean, obviously they didn't intend for this to be on the outside, so they didn't really care about this sort of stuff. Well, yeah, I do care because it's actually going to be on the outside. So anyway, got all the pattern laid out, time to mark, and then I'll be cutting, then I'll start sewing. All right, everything is laid out and marked. Waistbands and the fly. I'm going to, of course, save the, see what material is left to do the fringe. But that'll be easy to cut out and add later. All right, we're back in the man cave, and it's time to cut this thing out, and hopefully I got everything right, because if not, it's going to be a very expensive mistake. All right, so the directions read, sew the two back panels together at the seat. Of course, you want to have what's on the outside on the inside, because I'm going to sew along this to sew this together. And just for good measure, I went ahead and whip stitched the crotch area, just in this area, just to give it some extra. I don't really envy the man who rips his crotch out with his pair of pants. So I went ahead and doubled this up. All right, all right. The inseams, or the insides of the legs, are sewn all the way down. I think I'm just going to have to manually stitch this up because I can't get the sewing machine that close. There's too many layers of leather there, so I'll just repair that and on to the next step. All right, this is the front. I can tell that well, there's a flap right here for the zipper, or the buttons rather. Now this is inside out, of course. And I want to try to put in here some fringe, and I have to actually have this on the inside of this, and then sew the 3 layers together. So when I turn this right side out, because right now it's inside out, that the fringe, this part instead of the slick part, will be facing forward, because I don't want to have this on one side face forward and then this on the other. Yeah, going to take a little bit of thinking to put all this together. Okay, here's the trick. So this is the front. So when you're putting the fringe inside the pant leg, the front is actually facing up if the front is on top. So this is the fringe, and then these will all get sewn down this line, and then you turn it right side back out, and the fringe will be facing forward, or at least this part will be facing forward. So there you go. All right, the next step, this is the top, and this is the back, the rear end here, and this is the fly. So it says to fold the left fly inside, and we're going to sew that to the waistband with a whip stitch right along here. All right, now that I have the waistband, at least on the left side, sewn in, of course this is the part that the left side that you had to fold in on the one, I'm going ahead and sewing the fly on. Now this is, it'll just hide some buttons that are inside here. That's the purpose of it, but just sewing it on, and that actually sews to the back side of here too. So it kind of stitches this whole thing up. Well, I cut out a couple of pockets. Basically, you're going to laugh. But I just took a 5-gallon bucket and put it over the edge, drew some straight lines up, folded it in half, and there you go. I do have enough room to stick my hand in it. So that's really the litmus test. I just stitched a little bit up here just to give it some extra strength, and then about right down here, like I said, just enough to get my hand in it, and there we go. Pockets are done. I just need to sew them in. All right, next is sewing these buggers in there. Of course, this is the fly, and this is the pocket hole right here. So I need to sew this edge to this, and then each one of these edges I got to sew to one of these. So this one will actually come up on top, will be sewed to there, the other one will be sewed to the bottom edge, and then I'll have a pocket. And then I got to do the same on the other side. More sewing, yay! Alrighty, there we go. Both sides are sewn in. And the pocket is fully functional. Just got one more to go. Well, it's another day, and I thought I'd do this little short interlude and just kind of tell you about what's been going on here. So I think it's about my 4th day working on the buckskin pants. I don't get much chance to work on things too often because my job is pretty critical, and well, it takes up a great deal of my time. Last night I totally worked on it all day. It was a Saturday. Man, I tell you what, I had such a bad headache from looking through my cheater glasses and doing all that sewing. It just about killed me. So I think, well, I'll just do a little bit less each day. I think that will actually turn out a little bit better. But anyway, I think this is day number 4, like I said, and we'll be putting some buttons on and whatnot. So stay tuned. Hey, remember to subscribe, doggone it. I'm putting all this work in it so that you can see this and hopefully create your own set. So please go ahead and subscribe. It would be awesome. All right, so this is the buttons that I'm using. I think they're made out of a man-made material. They're supposed to resemble bone, but I'm pretty sure that that's man-made. Of course, these will be underneath this flap inside here. So I got to cut the holes here. This one will be the only one that's left on top. But so I'm going to make this slit, and I'll show you how to make a button that actually, they say that it should have a riser in back here with a hole through it, because leather has a difficult time slipping through something that a button is attached directly to the surface. It's very flat. It's hard to get underneath there. So they say to have a little bit of a riser, and that'll help it go button into the leather. So I'll teach you how to do that. It's a pretty simple and easy trick. So the instructions say to get a sharp knife, and I just happen to have a set of carving knives that I got from my dad. He started doing carving carousel animals and all kinds of other figures. But I think the sharpest knife that I have is probably this one here. And if it's not, I have a leather strop that I can make it super sharp. But this ought to do just fine. Of course, I obviously use caution anytime that you're using a knife. Use your proper personal protective equipment. These are the actual buttons that it says to possibly use. A button with a shank. You can see there's a shank on it. This actually helps, like I said, the leather to go through because it has a little bit of room. We can make that happen with a little trick that I'll show you. All right, so this is where I want the button on the pants. So I'm just going to stick my needle right in there. Stick it in there nice and good. Just pull that out. Didn't stick very well, but it held its spot. Okay, so I'm going to, from that line to the right is where I'm going to make my cut. All right, so I've made my little mark. So I'm going to scoot this right up next to it. And I'm going to make a mark on the other side. And that should be the distance my cut needs to make from here to here. So now that I have my 2 marks, just make the cut, make sure that the button fits through, and then make a little template, position the other buttons on there, and then using the template I can easily just mark where exactly or how far the slit needs to be on all of the other 3 buttons. And then all I need to do from there is just cut those out. Once I have everything cut out, then I'm going to start sewing up each of the buttonholes. And you have to sew really, really close and go all the way around, so it takes lots of stitches. And this is just the first one. Got 4 of them to make, so I'm stitching like crazy. Alright, well there's the finished buttonhole, and looks like it does pretty good. It's nice and tight. Button goes all the way through, so that should work out perfectly. Okay, so here's the trick I was talking about to add a shank to shankless buttons. And first I'm going to a little bit about this. This is some awesome outdoor polyester thread. It is super strong. This is what I use to sew up the teepee, because it is outdoor proof, and mega strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like 2 buttons, or you could put a couple of nickels or quarters down or something like that, and put that right in the center. And then you're just going to sew through those just like normal, but it'll leave about that much of a gap in between the button and the leather. And after you're done sewing that through multiple times, then just take the needle with the thread and go round and around and around and around and around, probably about 15 to 20 times. And that basically coats all those strings that are going vertically with a loop around it, and that gives it about that much extra, which is about all you need to basically build yourself a shank out of thread. Well, all right. Finally got the buttons done, and of course I have to trim this and cut it. This side too, but don't look too bad. I don't know if I can do this. You see that? Yeah. But fly got all the buttons in, and so it all turned out really nice. And I'm pretty happy about that. So job well done. Just got a couple of fringes to make, and she'll be working ready. Well, it's a whole nother day, and now it's time to start cutting the fringe. Now, to make it lay right so that it doesn't like sticking out and then, you know, kind of curved over, I'm actually going to cut it probably at about this angle and just cut it all the way down. And then when I get down to the very bottom, because I don't want this dragging the ground, I'm probably going to have to cut about 2 to 3 inches off of there, so that the tassel at the end is not dragging the ground when I'm walking around. But that is what's on the agenda for today. All right. So about just like that. Yeah, about that angle. Okay. I'm just going to do the other side the same way and start doing each one at about a 1/4 inch and no more. You don't want to have big fat ones, or it's better to have the small ones. All right, well, it all lays pretty good, and probably a little bit long in the foot there, because I'll step on it, but I can always trim that up. There she is, all finished. I just need to get some suspenders, kind of help hold these up, because the leather pants are pretty heavy. Well, I sure can't believe that I got those pants done. I've been wanting to make a pair of buckskin pants for, heck, probably 15 years or more, and I'm just so glad that I had the opportunity to get those done finally. So make sure that you support my channel. Hey, share it, and see if I can get more subscribers. If I start getting that stuff going, I'll probably just start keeping these videos going, but you never know. But it all starts maybe with you. So please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you have as much fun building your buckskin pants as I did mine. Thanks again.